What's up, guys? My name is Ian, and this is the Lore Brothers podcast. And today I'm sitting with Connor.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
And Taylor.
Finally. I'm back after one episode gone.
He's been on vacation.
He has. He's doing a lot of music stuff, a lot of audio stuff, and we're happy to have him a part of our Lore Brothers team. And we kind of gave him a heads up on what we were going to be looking into today, which turns out to be a far bigger deal than I originally anticipated. And today we are going to be looking into the Dogman, which was recommended to us in the comment section. The last episode we uploaded, someone said if we're not scared, we weren't. However, I was unprepared. There is a ton. I don't know how I haven't heard of it. And all of us have done separate research into this, the lore of the Dogman. I've learned different things. It's going to be fun to kind of sit down today and talk about what each of us has gathered. We're probably only scratching the surface of what's out there. There is so much lore, and I encourage you all to look into it. It is a vast ocean of information about this mythological creature. YouTube channels solely dedicated to only talking about the Dogman. So I think what we'll do is we'll jump into what you guys have learned, and we'll get right into what would you describe is the Dogman.
Yeah. So the really cool thing about the Dogman, when we started researching it, it really seemed like all of us found there's just so much information.
Yeah, there is.
So we all kind of went on this organic pathway, all kind of different from each other's research. There were definitely some kind of coinciding theories.
Yeah.
But for me, from where I went, I found the history of the Dogman predating Christianity in some cases, even super old. And
a lot of Egyptian references for me.
I read that too. Yeah, that was definitely something that popped up with me. Also, the Aztecs. If you're unfamiliar with the Dogman, in more modern day, at least in the United States, there's been sightings in Michigan, and I know that Taylor's research kind of talked about that.
Yeah, I searched more of the modern side of Dogman, especially the Michigan stuff. And I know you were talking about the Bible and stuff like that. So the stuff that I looked up was more started in the 1800s, and then I read that it starts every 10 years on years that end with 7.
I read that too.
Yeah, I kind of looked up that kind of stuff and more modern stuff, because when I was thinking more modern, maybe there's pictures that people looked up or videos or something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
It definitely took me to Michigan.
Michigan's huge.
Michigan clearly is the epicenter of the lore states-wise. But before Michigan, it's very old.
Oh, yeah.
It's far, I believe it said 1843.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there was when Dogman was initially said to be spotted. I get a lot of Bigfoot-esque, resemblances here. A lot of people claiming they've seen it, had experiences with it, very elusive. It's a pretty interesting creature, but unlike a lot of lore that we investigate and read into, this one, as scary as it sounds, doesn't sound to be very dangerous.
Yeah.
In some cases.
Yeah.
I've read, the Indian versions. I had one theory talk about the skinwalkers. Skinwalkers, how they can transform into part animals and whatnot, and that's how they kind of brought in Dogman theory into the skinwalker side, which those have been said to be dangerous, but I didn't read a lot about it being a threat if it's something that you do come across. Same with Bigfoot. Bigfoot's not out there just beating the hell out of people. He's
more elusive than that.
Connor is very Bigfoot oriented, and I tell you what, one day, mark my words, on this channel, he is going to get me out into the woods. What's our call? What's the
Suey?
So we're gonna do some sueying out there.
All jokes aside, I'm a huge lover of all things cryptozoology, whether it be fucking mermaids.
Yeah,
I think those are real. Bigfoot.
I'm not gonna go.
I think that's real. The Yeti. I think that's real. Dogman. I think that's real.
He's now in your top 5.
Well, that's my 4. But seriously, I really love anything to do with cryptozoology. I just think animals are interesting. Any sort of hybrid species. One of the biggest things about Dogman and hardest to wrap my head around from the research I did was like, well, how do you even define it? What is a Dogman?
Right.
And depending on what year you're looking into it, it all kind of changes.
But it still keeps a pretty familiar basis. Dogman, almost self-descriptive in that way. Usually, dog head, male body.
Exactly.
Essentially. Mm-hmm. But I did also read that there's different heights, different eyes, some blue, some auburn. Mm-hmm. It's pretty interesting. What other shapes did your man dog?
So one of the things that I came across that I thought was super interesting. Originally, this is just my personal research, and like he was saying, there's so much information on this topic. People have dedicated years of their life to the Dogman, and I've been trying to do my due diligence and really try to look at it from a lot of different angles. But the farthest back I could find was 400 BC, BCE, and a Greek physician actually writes about something called the cynocephaly, and that's in the mountains of India. Mm-hmm. And cynocephaly basically it's this tribe of people with heads of a dog, but the body of a man. A little bit different than like a traditional werewolf in the sense that they literally have like skin. Yeah. And then their head is like a dog or a fox or something of that nature. But going into Africa, there's some reports of tribes believing in dogmen, and the only thing that I thought was interesting about that was that was actually debunked in a sense as being actually lemurs. So there were these 3 foot tall lemurs with these stub tails, and tribes members saw these lemurs, thought they were dog people, and actually thought that they were the tribesmen who basically didn't listen to the tribal leader and became, exiled as dog people. So I thought that was super fascinating.
Which is also interesting because I feel like a lot of folklore is created as cautionary tales.
Definitely.
Hence how that would become a cautionary tale. If you do not listen and abide by the tribe leader, you will become a dogman. It's like threats. Pretty common across a lot of folklore that I've read. What about you, Taylor?
So like I said, I researched more of the modern side of things, and I found there's like Facebook groups like specifically for people who have encountered Dogman and stuff. So it's like way bigger than I ever thought. And when I thought of Dogman, I kind of thought like, oh, werewolf. But like you guys said, it's like actually like a human body with, dog head. And I mean, it's crazy how much information there is and how far it goes back. When I looked up all this information, I thought that it was just modern stuff like from Michigan. But then like today we talked about it, and you were saying you found all this stuff, that was predating. A fly flying around in here.
Dog fly?
Dog fly?
Where in Michigan?
So
I did read it, but I don't remember.
One place I looked up was Wexford County.
Yes, Wexford, that's right.
And then there's a guy who, I think his name was Stephen Cook, who's a radio host who created like a song, and that was in Traverse City. Mm-hmm. And my mom's actually from Michigan, so I called her last night when I was doing research and everything, and she had never really heard of Dogman. She was like, oh, what's that? And she was interested, but she had never heard of it. She heard more of like the Bigfoot kind of side of things, because... I guess there's a lot of that in Michigan, like Bigfoot, Dogman, and stuff like that. So
there is a lot of Bigfoot in Michigan.
No, I mean like the stories go around. You know what I mean?
That's a hot spot, though.
Yeah, I mean like you don't hear about that where we're from. You know what I mean?
And I mean, unless you're talking about Flagstaff. That's a different topic.
But that's not Bigfoot.
That's not Bigfoot though.
It's the Magalla monster.
Yeah, it's different. Monster. Do you call him Bigfoot?
Completely different.
Get his name right.
There's a lot of. This is the best part, in my opinion, when you're researching anything that has folklore behind it, especially with the amount that this creature does. You really get to create it in your own mind what you think it is, where you can find it. However, if you look at it from a more factual standpoint, it sounds to me like Michigan would be where you'd go looking if you were to. So if we decided to make an episode where we wanted to go out, I would definitely probably start in Michigan.
Yeah.
Find somebody who's had these experiences, and I'd love to interview them. I did read a ton of firsthand accounts through blogs, comments on YouTube or Facebook, and it's very real. A lot of people talk about it as black and white. It happened. So those are the stories that I love reading, because it makes you wonder. Like, I mean, there can't be this many people worldwide. But, you never know until you try, go find it yourself.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. The more you look into modern day sightings of the Dogman, there's a lot of pictures and videos. It's always kind of hard to tell the authenticity of what you're looking at. Like, I know that Taylor found a pretty fucking terrifying photograph.
There's some pretty scary ones.
Yeah, so when I looked it up, I was like trying to debunk it myself, and I know that dogs stand up on their hind legs, so I was like, oh, maybe it was just like a wolf or something standing on its hind legs, and I looked up pictures, and I can kind of see how that might be what it was. Like if somebody saw it from far away, like a wolf standing on its hind legs.
Well, I've seen creepy videos online of strange, thin, lanky wolves walking, and I could easily see how that would be misconstrued. But some people, the way they describe it in their accountings with these dogmen doesn't sound like that. Like, it sounds very dogman, man with the dog's head.
Which is, to me personally, I think that's more scary than the traditional werewolf. I don't know why. It makes me just uncomfortable.
That's a whole nother side to this. So when I first jumped into it, I was thinking werewolf. Yeah. This is clearly just another werewolf situation, in which we also are going to be looking into, but they're very different, actually. Werewolves and dogmen sound similar, but historically, folklore-wise, they're not. And that's one thing I did read in the blogs that they're very serious about. This isn't a werewolf situation. This is a dogman. Don't fucking get it confused. Yeah. And I was like, all right, I'll make sure not to make that mistake. I respect that some of these people that they are so pinpoint focused on learning just everything about these creatures. We kind of learn a little about a lot of things. These guys learn a lot about one thing, and it's I hope we can do them justice. There's so much history to it that it's going to be hard for us to really get it all across to you without it being horribly dry and sounding like a college class, what I mean?
Absolutely.
But what we will do is kind of talk about some fun sightings. Do you have any accounts with, or what are you looking at right there?
Well, right now I was kind of going over something I read about Native Americans and the Dogman. And different versions. I came across a series of questions last night, actually, when I was thinking about things I wanted to answer or talk about today. Yeah. And one of the questions, was, well, where does it come from? What could it be? Yeah. Things like that. And there's the easier, in my opinion, the cryptozoology. It's actually an animal, that's part dog, part man, right? Yeah. I came across another theory, which I thought was interesting, kind of talking about the elusiveness of the Dogman, actually thinking that it was a person who actually had mated with like an angel or a higher entity, and that the Dogman is actually an interdimensional species. And I know that's kind of like far-fetched compared to
super complicated
compared to the fucking like traditional, like it's part dog, part man. But I kind of liked that because to me that's gives it a little bit more. Maybe that's why there haven't been any confirmed sightings, is because it's one of these interdimensional entities.
It's like not here all the time.
Exactly. Right. Or like more of a type of entity, almost like a spirit that takes on the shape of a Dogman, which could explain why it isn't physically out there like walking around. You can't. Yeah. You don't always see it unless it wants to be seen. Yeah. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Well, I'm on this site called dogmanencounters.com. So these guys are clearly dedicated to just Dogman. And one question here is, are dogmen dangerous? Kind of going back to what I was saying.
Oh, yeah, this is a good one.
And this one, almost every eyewitness who encounters a Dogman says they thought the Dogman was going to kill them and eat them. But to date, though, almost every encounter has resulted in the eyewitness walking away unharmed. Attacks seem to be very few and far between. I do know of some attacks that have occurred, though. Consequently, extreme caution should still be exercised if you do have a Dogman encounter. The one you encounter just might prove to be dangerous. So that tells me that not every Dogman's the same. Perhaps some are dangerous, perhaps some are not. Maybe the situation will dictate the outcome. So it's, we'll have to see. I don't really know if they're dangerous.
Yeah, I read that they're not really, they won't harm you, you know what I mean? Like, that's mostly what I read, but I've heard also...
I can just tell you that if I was walking through the forest and I came upon a Dogman, I'd be fucking terrified.
Yeah, I'd run. I mean, I don't know what I do, actually. I just kind of, like, you can't think that in a head.
I'd be kind of excited because, like,
Dogman.
you just found Dogman, but...
I'm gonna try to record it.
I'd be really scared.
It's
a really intimidating...
Yeah, that is
Well, the pictures are
creature.
definitely
There is
scary.
one thing that I found from 2006, which was an OnStar call.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you get in a car accident, press the button, OnStar, an emergency vehicle comes out. And it's like this guy's getting attacked. He's like describing Dogman, and then he gets attacked, and you can hear Dogman in the background. And then the call just cuts out. And it sounds real, and like I can kind of feel like it's fake.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I don't know. Just
Well, it's like, how do you know?
But how do you
if it's
know? Because
authentic?
if we're talking about Dogman, like I've never seen it, I've never heard it. Like it might sound fake, but what if it's real? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't know what it sounds like. And I tried to do more research, and I didn't come up with any like police reports or like any news stories. It was just like this one OnStar call. But I do want you guys to hear that because that was it was chilling. Like it was pretty creepy. I'll try to find it right now.
Yeah, see if you can find it. Yeah, I mean, the really interesting thing for me was kind of looking at the history of the Dogman, because like you were saying, similar to you, when I went into it, I definitely didn't expect it to go back as far as it did. And I also read it's even referenced in Christianity, which is interesting. It's actually in the Bible. I don't have the verse in front of me, but I'm sure you can find it if you look it up. It's actually referenced in one of the iterations of the Bible, which is really fascinating, because if you look at the span of the earth, right, like how big it is, all these different kinds of people. I mean, it's been cited in India, it's been cited in Africa, Korea, the United States, that's North America. It's been cited in South America. It has ties to the Aztecs. The Aztecs, guardian of their underworld, is actually a type of Dogman creature.
In like Egypt.
Egyptian lore. So it's interesting to see what, no matter the time period or the span of it, it all has that thematic understanding of the people in that region, all similar to each other. The part dog, part man. Like everyone's seen it.
Right.
Throughout time, since as long ago as 500 BCE. That is fucking crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Crazy.
With all of these entities, we try to go into it with an open mind. I certainly went into this one with a blank slate.
Yeah.
Had no previous knowledge of Dogman, never heard of him. So when I started digging, I was pretty surprised at how much I found. And which is why this podcast is going to be, it's somewhat just a rough overview of what we have found. And kind of a cool idea. Sorry, there's a fucking fly in here. It's a dog fly. I'm going to kill his ass. A lot of electronics. All right.
Just knock all over the mics.
But I'd be curious if any of you have ever had experiences
Or an encounter
or heard stories. Post it in the comments below. You'd be surprised at people that are looking it up who maybe had encounters. I was going over that website I was just telling you about, and I can just scroll. This person says, in 2009, I had a life-changing event while traveling at night with my wife in North Carolina. That's a long way from Michigan. I stopped due to a noise and came face to face with the 7-foot-tall, snarling, upright, walking canine. It had the biggest teeth and most amber eyes. I was able to get to my truck and escape, but the memory of that night stays with me in my nightmares. Vic Cundiff, who I found on the web by trying to make sense of this, was my rescuer. He is the most understanding, compassionate, and so he's talking about whoever gave him a platform to talk.
You know, that's a really interesting story because one of the common denominators between all of the Dogman stories dating as far back as they date is the Amber Eyes.
Amber, I've heard Blue Eyes.
I've heard Blue Eyes as well, but Amber Eyes also.
And 7 feet tall.
Yeah, I've heard that. So super, super interesting.
Yeah, no, these are... I love reading these experiences. Look, there's Dogman Encounters Radio. Like, it's so... There's so much.
There's so many Facebook groups, too. I'm looking right now. Dogman, Believers Only, Dogman Mystery, Discussion, Encounters, and Research. And there's, like... This group has 5,000 members.
That is wild.
1,500 members, 2,400 members.
There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that I've seen or encountered.
And that's always where I get hung up. Like, how... Where's all the footage? I want to see it. I love seeing that stuff.
If it's an interdimensional being, then maybe it's too elusive to get captured by footage.
Yeah.
True.
I think that's always an interesting take on it. I don't think Bigfoot actually is interdimensional being. I personally am a big believer that Bigfoot actually is just a very elusive and one of the more on a tangent. One of the more common things people have always told me was how come it can't get picked up by heat-seeking cameras? Well, there's a lot of foliage in the forest. So obviously it's not going to pick that up,
Of course.
right off the bat. Well, I mean, I'm planning out like a 2-3 week expedition in the future to go look for it.
I love camping, so I think that's going to be fun.
Yeah,
I'm always down.
it's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good one, and we're gonna find him, or at least something, hopefully. And I want to do an expedition on Dogman too, because that sounds
That'd be
awesome.
fun.
I've been a huge fan of werewolves since I was a kid. And this isn't a
right?
werewolf, but it's a very akin to that.
Yeah.
The werewolf
Seems
area.
similar to me as well.
I've always
Something
been
fun.
into the Loch Ness Monster. That's the one that I've always wanted to
Yeah.
go look for.
Another cryptozoology.
Why do you guys want
Yeah.
to go in the water? See, I don't want to do any deep water.
I wouldn't go in the water.
expeditions.
I would just go on the water.
I would go in the water.
I wouldn't. You can't really see in that lake. I don't think it's
Yeah,
too muddy.
You have to know though. To like, you have to feel it in the water. And you
Yeah.
fucking laugh, but I'm telling you, how else are you gonna find mermaids?
Dude, I'm not going to go in the ocean.
Well, they're in the ocean. I mean, you can see in the ocean. The Loch
what a
Ness is hard
riptide
because
is?
it's so murky.
I do know what a riptide is.
It just sucks you out
I've
of the
seen
ocean.
Bondi
The ocean
Beach.
eats you. Yeah. Yeah, no, like these... That's the other thing is there's always, as fun as it is to talk about going out and looking for these, there is an aspect of real danger, which also attracts us to that. We love doing those sort of things. Dude, this fly's gonna... It's right on.
It's ticking me off.
It's a demon.
One thing that I do want to tell you guys about is I was telling you about it in Montana. They found that wolf-like canine creature.
Oh,
And-
is that the picture you showed me?
Yeah, I showed you the picture. It's on Google, but I didn't really see anything followed up. This was back in like March 2018.
That was a really cool picture, though.
Yeah, it was
didn't
cool.
necessarily look, I don't know, it just looked like a big-ass wolf.
Mm-hmm.
Scary to think there's a fucking wolf out there that large.
I don't. Yeah, people were saying it was
Wolves are
a
huge.
dire
Well,
wolf,
yeah.
which is an extinct type of wolf.
Wolves
but-
are fucking massive.
Yeah, that picture didn't look real to me necessarily, but
Yeah.
who knows?
It's
'cause
hard to
if
tell
it's a
though, when
prehistoric
it's a
animal,
corpse,
you know what I
though,
mean?
too. Like if it's dead,
Yeah, that's
it
true.
always has that stiff. It's stiff.
Yeah.
So it's difficult. It's difficult to tell. But that was a really cool picture that you showed me. I've seen a lot of similar pictures in reference to like chupacabra. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, could this have been chupacabra? Like, could have been, or it was
Or
a
like a
fucking
sick
mangy
coyote.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard to say. Especially living down here in the Southwest, I've seen mangy coyotes on my bro. If I saw that, I wouldn't know.
Yeah, you wouldn't know because
For
they're
sure.
so
That
different
could
than an
be
actual
chupacabra. It's fucking
actual
terrifying.
coyote.
Yeah. I don't know, but like the aspect of danger, I think, is super cool.
That's what makes it exciting.
It's exciting, and one of the
The
things.
fear of the unknown. You
Yeah.
don't know what you're gonna find. And what if? The what if side of it.
That's cool.
What if? What if it's all of this is 100% real, and you know that's what keeps so many people going. Is it's exciting. It's different. It's not the same black and white world that we're taught. It shows that the world's in layers.
Yeah.
And I love the idea of that. I love the idea that the other dimensions and all those aspects of it really, it gives me something to continue to look forward to. It's like I'm an adventure in my mind.
Well, it brings the magic.
Yeah.
It brings the magic back. I think for me, I like to go out and and research and look into these kind of things. Go out and look for them physically.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's like, you know, it's like grasping onto the wonder, the magic, the ambiguity of like the darkness. You know what I mean? Like when you go to sleep at night, you don't get scared if the lights are off anymore. When you're a kid and that closet door's open, yeah, you don't know what's looking back at you from that dark closet, which I miss that feeling. And I get that feeling like when we're out, you know. And
when we were in the mine at Ruby or something.
Yeah, that's scary.
That was scary.
That was scary. And like super exciting. Super fun.
Which is why we'll continue to do it.
Definitely.
It's fun to go deeper into the darkness, see what you can find, see what's out there.
But I'm also a big believer too. Like I think it's also equally as important to sit down and have a discussion about the different entities and paranormal or cryptozoology or whatever topic we're discussing. Yeah. Because I think that preparing yourself ahead of time before you go out and look for something with well-read research, I think that's super good and very, very important and beneficial.
Probably should wear Converse.
Probably not. No Converse when we go to Michigan.
We lived.
Barely.
We survived. My Lore Hunter 12s. They will take me across
I made it out. I had hiking boots on, so.
That's true. Brand new ones. Brand new out of the box hiking boots. And I almost died still. Classic. You know, one of the things I was reading about, because I was like, fuck, how cool would it be if we were to go out and look for Dogman in Michigan? Was how do you defend yourself? If you find Dogman...
I didn't find anything.
So, one of the things I was reading, which I thought was interesting, so if it's an interdimensional being, I couldn't find anything on how to defend yourself against something like that. I would have to assume that it's similar to, like, something that's a negative spirit, right? That's my initial thought, at least.
Like a blade.
Like a fucking wraith, so you need a blade or some shit. But if it is a cryptozoology creature in Michigan... We are out in the woods. We find it. Unfortunately, we come across the one that wants to kill you. How do you protect yourself? I'm going with the traditional silver bullet method. Because I think that from everything that I've read, it's about as close to the werewolf family as you can get, and that's probably my safest bet.
Yeah.
You know, I'm thinking silver bullet. You know, if it's not the silver bullet, a regular bullet's still gonna hurt it. At least, hopefully, give you time to escape.
Fuck this fly up. I'm sorry.
But yeah, you know what I mean. So,
I don't know what I'd do. It's hard to think like how you'd react in a situation like that.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking like,
I feel like shooting.
If you had like a second
shooting
to slow down time.
Shoot at it with something, whether it's a silver
I'm thinking
bullet.
starting with silver bullet though.
Why not?
I mean, that's like, I feel like that's probably.
If there's a Dogman, I'm staring at it. It's a 7 foot tall creature, and it's like right yonder, and it has a big wolf head, and it's a man body.
I'd be so scared.
I would be like, well, whatever it is, and it's snarling at me with auburn eyes, and it's like aggressively coming towards me.
Attacking you.
I'm absolutely going to shoot at it and not die. I would also probably be inclined to want to film whatever's happening.
Absolutely.
Just for the fact that when do you get that opportunity?
Never. Well, hopefully, eventually, but most likely never. You know, one of the things I also read that was super interesting regarding the history of the Dogman, it was looked back in like the Viking Norse ages, and they would consider the Viking warriors to be part dog, part man also, at least tying into Norse mythology too, which is another perspective if you're talking about just, I mean, that's like all four corners of the earth.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? That dates back forever.
Well, it also says here, we were talking about
And we're back.
attacks and stuff like that. It says, this is on ranker.com, that there haven't been any known deaths or serious physical attacks attributed to Dogman. There's Indian belief that one must invite evil onto themselves, therefore the creatures cannot harm you unprovoked.
So that's definitely more of like...
Yeah, you don't want to just go swinging at Dogman.
No,
you know what I mean?
no, probably
Send
not.
Zach Baggins out there, start peeing all over Dogman's woods.
Yeah, that'd be bad.
But it would not be good. But I mean, like, it's kind of like if you respect it, it's gonna just leave you alone. And
Yeah.
Which, you know, I've read that in many of folklore.
I've read that about
Yeah.
Bigfoot. You know what I mean? Like Bigfoot's not gonna attack you if you don't if you just leave it alone.
I think anything that you go out and look for, whether it's a specific type of entity,
You look hard
creature.
enough, it'll find you.
Classic
Lore
Lore
Brothers.
Brothers. But you have to show everything
Yeah.
respect. You know what I
of
mean?
course.
It's a huge part of it, whether you're looking into Dogman or...
It's just obnoxious if you don't.
Yeah, it's-
personally.
I think that's a big part of the Lore Brothers, just respect everybody's beliefs. You know?
Yeah.
Why would I down on anything? I kid with my brother, but in all realness, like if he wants to go on a 3-week expedition to find Bigfoot, bro, let's go.
Yeah.
I'll do it. I'll hoot suwoo or whatever you do. Suwee. That's totally cool. I think it's the ones that come at these situations with a negative mindset.
Yeah. To harm things.
Yeah, just to be like, hey, it's just a sour taste in my mouth. I don't like it. Especially on some of the ones that are more sensitive, like voodoo.
Voodoo's really
It's
cool.
taboo, and some people, come at it from a really negative standpoint. I can't wait for us to do that episode.
Yeah,
I want
that's
to
a really
actually
big one.
travel to New Orleans and practice and actively participate, because that's one thing that we love to do is participate in these things that we are researching, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, the Dogman, it's hard to participate in this subject other than going to like Michigan and looking.
Yeah.
But, that's something that down the road, if we have the means to do so, we will. I enjoy traveling as it is, and I enjoy meeting people with these experiences. That's the other aspect of it. So I'd love to go to Michigan, find these people who are having these encounters and telling them to take me to wherever it was. Recreate it for me in my head. I want to play-by-play it.
Yeah.
That is endlessly fascinating for me.
Yeah.
I love that stuff. So we'll see. We'll see where this road takes us. I think we've learned a lot here today.
Yeah.
Is there anything you guys wanted to add?
I wanted to ask you guys what you think it is, because there's, the cryptozoology kind of thing. There's
Well,
the
what about you?
interdimensional
What do you
thing.
think?
I think it's either, if it's fake, I think it's like a wolf. Like if it's a hoax, or if people are, confused about what it is. It might be just a wolf standing on its hind legs. It could be cryptozoology, or like a dire wolf, like something that...
Yeah.
Because there's so much world that we haven't seen, like the ocean. We haven't seen all the ocean. We find creatures all the time,
Yeah.
Who's there to say that there's not a wolf that we've never seen before that can stand on its hind legs and walk, you know what I mean?
I agree.
So,
Yeah. That's a good point. What about you, Ian?
Well, as with almost all lore, I think it's a combination of everything. I think that as a factual standpoint, I could never say what anything is 100%. But I think that if I was to ever come across a Dogman, and if it was standing right in front of me, what would I think it is? It's got to be a hybrid of some kind.
Yeah.
A mixture of species. And if you come at it from a superstitious standpoint, the God theory is where, they were angels.
Yeah.
It's likely. I don't have an answer for what I think it is. It's right now, to me, it's an idea.
Yeah.
And it's a fascinating one, and I'd hate to put a label on what it is, because it seems like it could be so many things.
Yeah.
Especially depending on which region of the world you're referring to.
Yeah, for real.
Michigan specifically.
Yeah.
7-foot tall, auburn-eyed man monster.
That's fucking werewolf.
Yeah, right? Like, it sounds very werewolf-esque. But, I don't know, man. I'd love to learn more. But again, I also like to leave it to the experts. Though there's people that specifically study Dogman. And I encourage you all, if this is interesting to you guys, go there and they will teach you far more in depth what they are.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with my theory, too, is that a lot of the reports are a human body, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's hard to mistake a wolf with a human body when it's on its hind legs, you know what I mean?
Definitely.
Unless it's like maybe far away, you know what I mean? You have eyesight like me or something like that.
I think for me, like, and this is purely speculation, but I think for me, something like this, I'd definitely lean more towards like the cryptozoology aspect of it. I think the idea that it could be a type of entity, a vengeful spirit, something like that is interesting, and I could definitely entertain that. And it could be anything, you know. But this is just personal personal opinion from the research I've gathered.
Yes, I'm not an expert on this either. You know
but personally, I'm a big believer in all crypto. Like, I love creatures.
Right.
I think it's fucking awesome. Goblins, fucking everything. You know, I would personally think that it's some sort of physical creature, perhaps that's been around for, I mean, since, as far as I read, 500 BCE. You know, and could it have changed over time? I think that's very possible too. I mean, people evolve, things evolve, animals evolve, and I think that very possibly there could be a physical, some sort of, whether it's an ancestor or a relative of something like the Dogman out even today. I think that's super possible. Does that mean maybe it's just a big ass wolf?
Yeah.
Why couldn't that be related to the Dogman?
Or some weird ass dude out there running around with a wolf head on.
That's always possible too.
True,
And that's fucking more scary to me.
That's scary to me. If I saw that, I'm shooting it also.
For sure. But I think, you know, personal speculation. I'm a huge fan of all creatures. So, but yeah, I mean, I want to go find Dogman eventually.
I think we should
hop on a jet, go into fucking Michigan, and we're looking for in the in-between area
in the summertime.
In the summertime, get out of the heat. Yeah. Sounds fun for sure.
It's true.
I'm
always down to go.
No, yeah, definitely. Dude, what do you think from coming up next? Or
you know, I think that we've learned a lot today. I'm excited to hear more from you guys, and I'd love to read your comments on what you may think the Dogman is. Do a little research. Maybe you haven't heard of the Dogman. I hadn't before the comment. So maybe you have some encounters yourself, some history, some knowledge that you could put down below for everyone else to read as well. Everyone who comes here just loves learning about these cool creatures and things that we touch on. So I'd love to hear what you think. As for future episodes, there are a lot we are looking to do. There's some pretty old comments of people looking for us to look into the Fae. Fairies.
I think that would be cool.
Yeah, and then of course a big one, but this one I want to go out for is vampires.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Vampires is a cool subject.
It's kind of edgy.
It is kind of edgy.
You can actively find people participating in
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
There's news stories about it.
There's a vampire ball out in Phoenix.
Yeah. We were going to go to it.
Yeah, we were. Remember?
Yeah, I remember.
The vampire ball. So there's some really cool ones we're going to touch on. And again, if you have any future episode suggestions, leave it in the comments below. We will see them and we'll try to review them. And if we can make an episode about it, we will. And if we can go out to it and participate in it like voodoo, which I'm very excited for as well, we will do that. Definitely. Anything we can, like witchcraft is going to be a big episode for us.
Definitely.
Because that's something that we can also participate in. Witch covens and the whole aspect.
Hopefully some guest speakers too.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. We want to find people that actively do this and practice. So we are excited. And thank you guys.
Thank you
so much. I mean, we've been doing this a year now with a fairly lengthy hiatus as we transitioned, and you guys are still here. You're still watching our stuff and commenting, and it means a lot to us.
The world.
It really does. We have Taylor with us now, and he will be with us regularly. So we are excited to move forward with the Lore Brothers and see what else we can uncover in this vast world. There's so much out there, and it never ceases to amaze me. So thank you guys, and as always, if you look hard enough, it will find you.